Live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is Ted Hicks from Late Night Parents. Ways to follow the show, latenightparents.com. Danny Thompson is in the queue for our episode. The end begins right here. Our last time, Danny, we will be podcasting in the year. Well, the two of us will be podcasting because I know your schedule is kind of packed for the year 2023. How are you doing?
You know, it's funny. I think the first podcast of 2023 was us together, and I think the last of 2022 was us together. I think it was. So it's kind of like it's almost like a Dick Clark tradition now that we close the year with each other. Said, I mean,
That's true. That's
like
true.
it's been an interesting year so to speak, and you
It's good to
know,
see you.
yeah, it's always good to see you too. It's like I always make this the last. I'll make this the last stop at the end of the year. You know, my guy.
I appreciate that. Much appreciated. Let's see. Hang on one second. Okay. Let's see. Okay, got it. It's on. So, bunch of things to talk about. Danny 2 times Thompson. Yo, yo.
Mike Patton. What it do toward the AFC South? Yo, dope podcast. You got to listen to it. Check it out. Mike knows anything and everything about the AFC South. I love this podcast.
Not just the AFC South, but the NFL. Don't just paint him into a corner.
No, because it says touring the AFC South. So I'm talking about the Tour of the AFC South podcast. I know Mike knows the stuff, though. But, I'm just speaking of the platform he has.
Got it. Tone Capone is in the room.
I got Tony D.
What's going on, man?
What it do, Tony D?
Tony D is in here. So we're going to do this in under 30 minutes. Now, we spent about 20 minutes in the green room.
That doesn't count, though.
That doesn't count. So let's get to a couple of topics. First topic at hand. Question I have for you is, and if I was smart, I would have put it in the chat here to make it official. But the first question for you is, which digital player, and we're only talking digital players, providers, do you want to pick up part of the NBA package?
Wow, the digital partners, give me Amazon. As much as my wife has got me pinpoint this Apple product thingy for the last 5 years, which she held over my head, I think she probably held marriage because of it. I think that was a requirement in my vows. I had to say I love Apple products. I think it was, but Amazon's everywhere. I mean, literally, Ted, we literally watched the entire country go watch a game on Black Friday during shopping, and the way they broadcasted it and through Amazon ads all day long. The fact that Amazon's the biggest platform and everybody of some sorts has Amazon Prime, I think being able to do it to the mass consumer, I think is the best way of doing it. I think it's ahead of Apple, even though honestly, Apple's coverage of MLS and that package they have is flat out amazing. They do an amazing job with it. They really do an amazing job with it. But give me Amazon because the checkbook is deep, and I think you put it in more eyes than you would for Apple.
Okay. So Amazon over Apple. I got a question because these digital players are global. So are you talking about, if you give it over to Amazon, are you talking about international rights also, or you're talking about rights only in the USA?
I think you have to go the international route, Ted. I think because Amazon's the largest provider of pretty much everything across the world at this point, you're building rocket ships. I think you can have the international platform possible. And in some cases maybe pinch off to a DAZN or something like that, but I think Amazon should be the player internationally everywhere. Everybody has Fire Sticks everywhere. It's easier to maintain. And like I said, who doesn't have Amazon Prime at some sort of Amazon type of product? So give me Amazon by a touchdown. And I know I'm talking basketball, but I'm doing football reference in there.
So would you clearly rule out like the Paramount Pluses and the Peacocks and those streaming, like the smaller streaming packages, jumping in there and trying to make a play?
I think in the Peacock case, right? I think if NBC is completely down with it, I can see you pinching off some games exclusively to Peacock, the same way that, a good third, 2/3 of the country forgot and realized that Bills Chargers game was on Peacock last weekend. And that now that because the ones who try to cancel it got to realize you're paying for December and January because that playoff game is sitting right there on Peacock in 2 weeks. Um, if you're giving some games over there, yes, and I think for Paramount Plus, unless CBS makes a play, Ted, to give us 80s basketball over again, and they better give us the music and everything else. I think Paramount Plus kind of gets left out, even though Turner's a part of it. But give me, like I said, a small package for Peacock or Warner Brothers, if Warner Brothers Discovery, Paramount Plus, if they decide to take a big package of part of it, but nothing major.
Okay, all right. I mean, I'm cool with that. Do you see, just a follow-up question that's not really ties into that? Do you see 3 players or 4 players for the next rights package? Because we already have the Disney and the Warner Brothers. Do you see? We're gonna see a digital partner, but do you potentially see a 4th one, or they'll stay with that 3? Because there's a specific number they want to get to.
I think you go as many people as possible, because the NBA, unlike the NFL, there's way more games on the table. There's way more things you can do with it. There's 7 nights a week for basketball. You can make it work with another digital partner. I mean, even if it's a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon game, for example, you can pull that off. If you want to do like a doubleheader where you have a game on a cable channel and put the second game on digital, you can do that as well. You got to think, Ted, there's 82 games. There's 30 teams currently in the league. That's a lot of games. This is not the NFL where, you're stuck to a certain number of games. The only sport that can pull us off even bigger is baseball, but I think you could. I think two is good enough. I think 2 digital partners is good enough. Outside of what you're going to get with, like I said, the ESPN, potentially Peacock, and then of course, like you mentioned before, with Warner Brothers Discovery, I think they're going to also get some stuff on the Max service as well too, exclusive.
So Alphabet, Alphabet, which is which oversees Google and YouTube TV and everything else like that, they've had a really successful time this year with Sunday Ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see them dipping their toes into this?
I mean, I think they would. I mean, it really depends on Ted, truth be told. It has to make sense, right? And like, people love YouTube TV, and I think it's an amazing product. I think they do a great job with it. But once again, it's like, okay, if you're putting it on YouTube TV and you're also paying Sunday Ticket on top of that, like, what type of number is that going to be to make it successful? For Ted, for most people who don't have, a lot of people who don't have YouTube TV, they might just be able to afford something completely different. If it's an add-on to their Amazon package or add-on to their, Apple TV services, or it's an add-on to something existing they already have, it might be that. But for folks who have to go out and go buy YouTube TV, and then you're going to have to go out and go buy the NBA and the NFL package, it might just be a little bit too much. I think you go with something that people, I think it's more common and way more homes. No offense to YouTube and what Google and everybody else is doing over there too. So I think it's a little bit easier because I think everybody has Amazon Prime. And Ted, I mean, you know more of those numbers. I'm pretty sure Amazon Prime is about what? It's got at least 50 to 60, 70 million subscribers already, if not more than that.
Amazon is up to like 200 million.
Thank you. And so how many people are using Prime Video? That's 200 million for Amazon Prime. There you go.
There you go.
I mean,
and it kind of leads into what I was talking about the other day, which is going to present this, and not to take a shot at them, but to take a shot at them. Amazon Prime Video is going to have ads. Guess what? Starting January 29th, they're going to have ads. And guess what? If you don't want to see these ads, they want you to pay an extra $2.99 a month. So riddle me this, Batman. How does that even make sense?
The same reason why Netflix keeps going up every 8 to 12 months, it seems like. Like Netflix has had more price increases than anything else in the world. Like,
yeah, I'm totally sick of this.
Like, but see, like Ted, here's the thing, right? $2.99 is not really a bad increase, right? Because I'm just, my Netflix bill has gone up. Ted, you remember the days when Netflix was like $9.99?
Yeah,
now it's like it's almost the price at like literally YouTube TV at this point. And all I'm getting, I'm not getting the same thing for additional $10. I might as well go ahead and pay for YouTube TV at this point and enjoy cable at this point. $2.99 is not bad, but let's see how much. And for me, what I'll do is I will look to see how much ads is on there. Because
think about this: you're already paying $139 a month. I mean, excuse me, $139 a year for 2-day shipping, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last time I checked, their programming isn't at Netflix level. And now you're telling me to add another $36 onto this. It's ridiculous.
I mean, Ted, like I said, it makes sense, Ted. If that $2.99 a month I'm paying for is going towards a linear sports package that will be exclusive on Amazon Prime, something more than the WNBA. Maybe that $2.99, Ted, can be used for WNBA coverage to give us a real, like, a full-fledged package where it feels like a full WNBA game. Maybe they're raising money towards that. Who knows? But
they're raising money. Okay.
I mean, listen, I'm gonna give the ad with the $2.99 without ads a try to see how annoying it's going to be. Like how many ads I'm going to see when I'm watching something, and then I'll make the determination from there. Like Hulu is really, Peacock is pretty bad with ads. Like, you know how rough it is watching WWE content and the ad pops up on there. I'm just talking regular WWE content, not the PLEs. I'm just talking about if I'm watching an old school 1988 version of Survivor Series and I get like 7 ads just pop up, I'm like, what are we doing here? But no, it depends. It just I'm going to give it a shot both ways and see what's more annoying and what's if I can handle it or not.
I'm going to jump into the comments real quick. Mike says, imagine the special effects of Tubi with NBA basketball. It would make you laugh and entertain you at the same time. How you say not to take a shot at them, but you take a shot at them? I guess I'm going to be watching ads on Amazon. Of course.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
Netflix changed prices more than people change their underwear.
There's no lies there.
Couple of NBA questions for you.
Okay.
We answered that one already. What in the world is going on with the Phoenix Suns? Help us out, because the other day, a media report came out. It said Kevin Durant was unhappy, and we've gone this route before with him when he's unhappy or he voices some concerns. And it really started around maybe about 2 weeks ago when they came to NYC and they played the Knicks and they played the Nets, and they lost both of the games. And there were references to the night where Jalen Brunson got the 50-piece. So my question to you is, he was on the dais and he was talking about they feed Jalen Brunson the ball. When he's hot, there's no questions. There's nothing, all the above. Where are we at in the process before KD begins to ask out? Or is this KD posturing to grab control of another organization?
I think at this point it's still too early. It's too early in the game. It's too much. There's too many unknowns. Bradley Beal he's returned tonight against Charlotte, and the main problem all year is the fact of Booker, Beal, and KD have not been on the court together. It's the same thing last year when they traded for Durant, and you're trying to build chemistry, and then Durant gets hurt right before right as they're starting to figure this out, and then he doesn't return to the playoffs. The thing is, Ted, we're starting to see this once again. Like, it's hard to build championship teams with guys in supermax contracts over 30 years old. It's really a problem. I mean, Ted, if you think about this, like Beal's over is past 30, KD is 35, Booker is in the prime of his career. He's getting to his prime at this point. Those are three guys with three levels of max contracts on this roster. And then Ted, your fourth option at this point, the fourth person you went out and got, you traded for Grayson Allen, and you have Eric Gordon. Like, you don't have much in the bear. No offense to the guys on there. I know you're a big fan of Yuta Watanabe, who's not really playing. BX Diop and the other players they brought in. Like,
don't forget Nurkic.
Yeah, I mean, Nurkic, but Nurkic is what the fourth. He's a center, but that's really it. There's not much depth, and it's hard to build. I was having a conversation today about the LA Lakers. Like, people are complaining about LeBron always needing help. LeBron needing this, LeBron needing that. Here's the problem. LeBron James is 40 years old. He should not have to carry the Lakers.
I gotta challenge you a little bit on this, because these players, these core players that have been in the league 15 plus years, 10 to 15 plus years, are eating up 35% of the salary cap.
I mean, listen, Ted, it's like being an employer. If you're worth your money, you got to be worth your money. But here's the problem: the reason why the Lakers always have to add somebody is Anthony Davis is not he doesn't take the game over. I bet you there's no complaining, or the Lakers are a 10 times better team if Anthony Davis shows up on a nightly basis. The problem in Phoenix is Bradley Beal he's the most expensive third option in the history of the NBA at this point. Yeah. Like, I don't think we're not going to get anything closer to this at this point. He is the 1C and the KD 1A, Booker 1B, Bradley Beal 1C. Bill's job.
So Danny, I got to jump in and say, what was Matt Ishbia thinking of?
I think Ted's the shiny new object in the room. I can go get Kevin Durant, and I can keep the fan base enthralled, because Chris Paul can't carry a heavy load anymore. DeAndre Ayton doesn't want to be there. And Danny, it's the shiny new object.
As a New Jersey Nets fan, not these Brooklyn fans that showed up when the stadium got built 10 years ago. I mean, 10, 15 years ago. No, about 10 years ago. You can't have these players that are past 30, that have seen their better days, that don't have that much tread on their tires, and you have no draft picks from now to 2031. How does that work?
I think this is where team building has to change, right? I think the way the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, and the different scale of luxury taxes, and the different scales of how players are being salarized and paid, and this is where cap gymnastics has to come into play, right? I think the model of what the Denver Nuggets are doing is probably the way it's going to have to work. You're probably going to have two max players at the younger end of the max scale, and then you can build around guys that have pretty decent, pretty up their salaries, but nowhere near max salaries. I think I said the case of Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray makes a certain amount of money, but he's in a certain age bracket because of the number of years he's played. Michael Porter Jr. is the same way, and Nikola Jokic is just now getting into that, that super, elite level tax bracket. But then at the same time, guys, like, you're going to have a guy like Aaron Gordon who can do a lot. But then you're going to have to go get veterans that can still play basketball and still play roles. I think in Phoenix's case, because of what the number Brad Beal makes and the number Kevin Durant makes, it's difficult to put players around it. And I think, Ted, as we started to watch, and I even think with the next television contract, when salaries go up again, I think you're going to stop seeing big threes happen and teams going to dynamic duos and getting a bunch of solid players around the dynamic of the two best players in your roster. And I think that's going to be the next wave of balancing rosters and also keeping enough good players in your rosters and having those two elite players that can carry you to a championship. That's what it is. You don't need three players 10 in the top 10 anymore. You don't need to have what the Miami Heat did to win a championship. Truth be told, the Golden State Warriors model of a couple years ago of having two superstar players, a guy does everything, an all-star type of player, and somebody else can work. You just have to find the right pieces, the right coach, and the right system. It's really the changing of the guards. Three max players ain't gonna win you a championship, and we're seeing this every single day in the league.
I got two additional NBA questions, not related to the Phoenix Suns. I will make a bold prediction. Before 2025, KD will ask out of the Phoenix Suns, but I'm going to say this. The Oklahoma City Thunder. I saw the Knicks play the Thunder the other night. That's how you put an organization together. I've never seen so many young studs, and that guy, for the first time ever, I got to see Chet Holmgren play.
Mm-hmm.
Is that who Victor Wembanyama is contending against to be Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, I mean it's a two-horse race, but even though Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson are playing really well, and Ted, the one player nobody's talking about, Jaime Jaquez down in Miami.
Yeah.
I mean, Jaquez is really good, by the way. He fits Miami, the culture perfect down there. But I mean, you can say it's a Holmgren and Wembanyama race, but you talk about the game against the Knicks. Holmgren wasn't even the best player on the court. Jalen Williams was the best player.
Jalen Williams. He cooked RJ Barrett.
And that's the thing. Why are the Thunder like this bona fide fun team to watch? Ted, they drafted the right guys in the right places. They have a bunch of young talent. And now they're at the point now where it's time to go get that last piece. It's time to go get the one thing they're missing. Like they already have the top 10 point guard and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who might be top 5 at the end of the season, like 5 best players in the entire league. We know Chet Holmgren is fighting for Rookie of the Year. Jalen Williams is on a rookie contract. Lou Dort's contract is really well. Josh Giddey, with all the stuff that's happening, has not been what he was the first year and a half he's been in the league. And that I guess a lot of that stuff could be what's going on off the court. And like I said, that's a totally different conversation for a different day. But it's kind of affected his play, and you can kind of see it. But Ted, they have so many young guys in that roster. They have so many picks and future picks down the road. There's talk around the league, Ted, and it's really been serious, that Oklahoma City might be big game hunting at the deadline.
Okay. Got it.
And the name to watch, and I know Tony Jones is not going to like this, my guy out in Utah. The word around the block is Oklahoma City is like looking at Lauri Markkanen with the Birdman hands.
Yes.
And you put Lauri Markkanen in that team. Or, Ted, what you do is you let these young boys play in the playoffs and see what happens.
Right.
And then you maybe go get the person in the offseason. But the word around the block is the Thunder could be the team at the deadline that's a buyer. And when I say buyer, they're looking to potentially throw some chips and assets in there to go get a player. And like I said, Lauri Markkanen is right there for the taking. His contract is almost about to be up. He's due for the extension. And currently, he doesn't cripple that salary cap going forward if it doesn't work. And you still have literally a war chest of assets as well. But I don't think they're going to go after a Kevin Durant for a homecoming. But I don't see Zach LaVine there either. But I think Lauri Markkanen might be a good piece that they could add to that puzzle. But they're fun to watch. I mean, they're one of the teams I'm watching on the League Pass almost nightly.
So being in the NYC area, the tri-state area, the name Donovan Mitchell comes up. constantly,
Mhm.
constantly on WFAN, ESPN New York, and other local stations up here. Do you see Donovan Mitchell as a Brooklyn Net, potential Brooklyn Net, or as a New York Knick?
The Nets make more sense. The Nets make more logical sense. I know Knick fans have been wanting to get Donovan Mitchell in that building literally since the time they laid eyes on him. But the problem now is that your best player is a guard that needs the ball in his hands. Jalen Brunson is an all-star this year.
He is
If
an
he's
all-star.
if he's left off the all-star team, there's got to be some answering to do at this point. There's really got to be some serious answering to do if Jalen Brunson's left off the all-star team this year. And I don't know 100% if that's going to work with two guys that need to have the ball in their hands and they both need the ball in clutch time. I think in Brooklyn, it's a
I got
different
to
story.
interject and say, and piggyback off of what you were saying. They need the ball in their hands at all time, and they're both under 6'5".
I mean, that part too. But I'm just looking at it from the offensive perspective. Like Jalen Brunson has turned himself into a high level guard. I'm not going to say an elite guard. He's a high level guard in this league, and you have to have those things. I think Donovan's a better fit in Brooklyn because the pieces around Donovan Mitchell, none of them are screaming.
Sean Kelly, how you doing?
I'm not a person. None of them are screaming number one option. In New York, Brunson's the number one option. Julius Randle at times thinks he's the number one option. So you don't need Donovan Mitchell convoluting the system. If Brunson's not there, then you go after Donovan Mitchell. I think he's a better fit either in Brooklyn or the place where everybody's rumored to go to, which is the Miami Heat. It's the only two places in the league that make sense for Mitchell at this point.
What's your take on these teams that have, so like the Nets in general, over the next 7 years or 6 years, I think they only own 2 picks. What's the take on trading picks that you don't own or swapping picks that you don't own? Is there any limitation against that?
I mean, swapping, you could always swap. It's always.
But swapping picks that you don't own, they're yours, but they're actually another team is going to be actually making the draft pick.
So, I mean, what you're saying is that, okay, I own the pick, but it's technically in your possession?
Yes.
Like, it also depends on how the picks are conveyed, right? Trading draft picks that have, like, protections on them, there's also a science to this. Because a lot of times, if the protections go through or the pick doesn't get conveyed, there's something that happens at the very end. Sometimes teams, for example, might have a protection on a pick for 2 or 3 years that turns into a couple second-round picks. So you're really banking if you're trading one of those picks that have a protection on it it's going to convey. I think one of my favorite ones was the Orlando Magic and the Chicago Bulls and the Nikola Vucevic, Wendell Carter trade. That basically they were just waiting, and the Magic kept getting the picks. Like they kept getting the Bulls. They kept they received the picks, and I think one of them was the Anthony Black pick, if I can remember correctly. But it really depends on what pick is being conveyed, what team's involved in it, and what is the protection on it. You can trade for these picks. Like the Knicks have some picks that can be conveyed and traded. It just depends on what the protections are on them. And do you think is the pick worth it? Or you think that pick is going to hit that's going to allow you to receive that first rounder 2 and 3 and 4 years down the road?
Got it. Before we get out of here, happy holidays, belated Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah to you, and Happy New Year.
Yes, sir.
What's on the horizon for you for 2024?
I you know what, the year 2024 is, there'll be some things happening this year. I think this is the year of, change. For me, on a personal side, I think it's going to be way more. Um, I say evolving. I think the word for 2024 is evolution, like evolving of myself, things that go around me. Um, I'm excited for what the year brings, and you know, it's closing out. I mean, Ted, the end begins. Like tomorrow in your neck of the woods, Ted, world's end tomorrow. Like the phone rings, the world ends. But no, like tomorrow, right next to your house, literally is the world's end pay per view. AEW is their last pay per view of the year, and I think that's kind of a telling sign. Like the title of the show is the end begins. The year ends. I think for me, I think it's evolution. Um, I think something beautiful is going to happen on the horizon, and I can't wait to see what happens. A lot of unknown and known, and that's it. But Ted, for you in 2024, what are you looking forward to? What do you see for yourself this year coming up?
It's going to be a transitional year. It's going to be a transitional year. Looking at, there's a couple of ideas that I have that I'm going to try to implement. Still too early to mention on air, but some things I mentioned to you off air, and we're gonna, we've been praying and we've been trying to work some of this stuff through. So I'll be as vague as I can be.
I mean, and sometimes Ted, vague is the right thing to be because, like you said before, things are unknown. And like I said, until they become known, they become apparent, and they become out in the open. It's kind of sometimes it's good to be vague. And like I said, 2024 on this end will be there'll be a lot of changing, and I can't wait. I can't. And I see in the chat, God is faithful. It really is. And one of the things I've always learned is, when you put in the work and you do it genuinely, God will open all the doors.
It's
That's what
true.
you see. So I mean,
It's
if you
true.
put the work in and you're doing it the right way and you're doing it with a passion and you're doing it from the right place, like you're not doing it for something, you're doing it
Right.
because you're doing it for the right reasons. God's going to open every door for you.
Yes.
And that's something I've learned in 2023 that I can fully think about in 2024. You see my background now. You see his grand piano sitting behind me right now. I kind of want to go with a full-fledged, drum set. So I might have to incorporate the drums instead of the piano back here. But it's really a true statement. Like I said, I heard that a few weeks. That's really stuck with me. And Ted, we've talked off air about a lot of things over time. And yes, I'll be the one to say this did go over 30 minutes because I'm making it go over 30 minutes.
That's what I was looking at. I was like, we were at 30 minutes, and I'm like, we're in overtime right now.
Listen,
but no, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Tony Khan told us we had extra time. He called Warner Brothers Discovery and said we get 10 extra minutes on we get 10 extra minutes on the show tonight. But yeah, I think closing it out, I think this year was a year of learning and growing, and next year will be the year of making it all, putting it all together. Like I said, this podcast is one of my favorites. That's why I say I always close the year out, because I don't have to talk sports on this podcast. I can talk about everything else.
We talk life.
That's what I'm saying. I can talk about, we haven't talked about anything being a dad, during the holidays or anything like that, but we can, just kind of like kick the shoes off a bit, talk sports casually. But Ted, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Now it's my turn to put you on the spot.
Go.
Ted, we are wrestling fans, Ted, and we are literally 12 hours away from the final wrestling pay-per-view of 2023. It is right next to your house, and you still didn't tell us, Ted. Are you going to be attending the MJF party in Long Island?
You made me aware that they're going to be at Nassau Coliseum tomorrow,
which is right outside your window. Which is
literally walking distance down the block.
They have sold 9,000 tickets for tomorrow.
And how many tickets are available?
That on like I said, I think at last check I saw like a little less than 1,000.
Oh, okay.
Like 1,000 at regular price. Everything else is secondary market at that point. but his Hulk outfit on. Nah, Ted's out here looking like Teddy Atlas right now. So don't let the polo shirt don't let the Under Armour polo shirt fool you. It's Teddy Atlas.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, no, I mean, great arena, great venue, not used out in Long Island because everyone goes to UBS now. And it's maybe 4 or 5 years old, the arena, and I don't think there's been 100 events in there. And it's spanking fresh. Like it still has that fresh new car smell like you walk in there. You know,
I know Ted moved. I know Ted moved the Liberty to Long Island. I know you've been saying this.
I'm telling you. I don't know how many years we've been talking about that. Move them out there, develop your fan base,
sell the place out every single year.
Every single year. What we got to do is, I guess we got to play the, what is it? Powerball? Is that $700 million? Someone said,
yeah, Ted,
last name.
Ted, you ain't about to take that team away from the BSC Global Group.
No. You don't need to do that. All you need to do is win the Powerball, and then I give Kathy a call direct, and I put in for what's the name?
Ownership.
I put in for ownership. Give them the 50 mil.
And be like, listen, I'll give it to you all up front. We don't have to defer
up front. And there's an arena around the corner. And there's a practice facility also already built.
So now, and I'm in the largest television market in the country. Let's go. Let's develop a rivalry with the Liberty.
Let's go.
Mike, I think Powerball is tomorrow.
Yeah, it is. But Powerball is tomorrow. I gotta go out and get a ticket.
Same here, but Ted, like I said, it's always fun doing this. Like I said, the last part of the year, and I couldn't do it in a better place than being on Late Night Parents. So I appreciate it.
Man, I'm telling you, it's always good because, like I said, we go back years. Shout out to Bucko Bruce and Hezzy McCaleb, and Tori, and Big Espo, and Willie Espo. So we continue this on and on to 2024.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to BSS. That's it. We're out. We had Chantelly Williams in the chat. We had Tony D in the chat. Touring the AFC South. The General Mike Patton in the chat. Danny Thompson, Ted Hicks. We're out.